Welcome to episode 20 of the Aligned Alchemy Podcast. Greetings, hello. And this episode has been brewing for a while. This one is really close to my heart. It's something that I see come up so much with clients, with friends, with family. And it's something that I'm really aware of now. It's something that I used to do a lot myself. So that's why it's so close to my heart, because when I speak about this, like, I know this. I don't just pick up a book and read about it. Like, I have lived this experience myself. So I get it. Like, I truly get it. And what am I talking about? What I'm talking about is, have you paused to notice that your harshest critic is yourself? This is one of those, like, we need to have a talk moments, because this is what I see so much of and it's especially in this spiritual side of things. I see a lot of people like beating themselves up for not being where they think they should be. So it comes with a lot of self-hate, a lot of lack of self-worth energy behind it. It's like, I should be further along by now. What is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Other people are further along. There must be something wrong with me. I'm broken. I need fixing. All of this negative mind chatter. And the thing is, this may have been going on for so long inside your head that you're not even consciously aware it's there. Because this is decades of domestication, decades of layers of not believing that you're good enough, believing that you always have to strive for something else, that there's always something you could be doing better in. It's like, well, it's good, but it's not there. Like, I could be doing so much better. And it's not about wanting growth, because to want to grow is a really healthy thing. You can love yourself exactly where you are and still desire growth. It's not saying that there's anything wrong with you where you are. In fact, you can love yourself so much that you desire growth. And the growth is not about perfection. The growth is not like, I have to do this better, I have to get it right. It's about really aligning and opening to possibility and what that brings for you. So when you can look at growth from that aspect, rather than a beat yourself with a stick, like, we're not there yet, what's wrong, should be further along, it has a completely different energy behind it. Because when you are so hard on yourself, you have to start to look at, like, what is the reasoning behind that? What's it really costing you long term to constantly be telling yourself you're not good enough? Because that's basically what you're saying. When you're like, I should be further along, I should be getting this by now. That, on a subconscious level, you are telling yourself, I'm not good enough. There's more to do. If only I was better. If only I was further along. If only I got what other people got. And even if you're not 100% consciously doing that, you are saying that to your energy vibration, your frequency. Every cell in your body is speaking to each other. So imagine what that does to you over years and years and years of that kind of feeling of, should be further along, should be getting this by now, what is wrong with me? Imagine the effect that has on your physicality. Imagine the effect that has on your light body. And the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention is not so that you can go into more of this negative perfectionist spiral of like, oh, she's right, she's talking to me, I really should be further along. That's the furthest thing that my desire or my intention with this episode is about. It is really to bring awareness to it so that you can start to see in yourself the language that you use, the things that you say to yourself. So rather than looking at things like wow, look how far I've come, look how much I have improved, I've changed so much. Yes, there's still places that I can grow. You know, we are always the student. You are never finished learning. So when you look at it like from that point of view, rather than I'm just not good enough, I'm not there yet. Because who's putting these timelines on things? If you're on a spiritual path, on a spiritual journey, and you haven't had this grand awakening where amazing things happened and your third eye opened, and if you haven't had that, that means you're exactly on the timeline you're meant to be on. It is your life. It is your experience. Don't measure yourself up against anybody else, the speed they're going, where they're at, because wherever you are right now is exactly where you're meant to be. And when you can start to give yourself enough love to appreciate how far you've come, look at everything you have achieved, look how much you've grown, and sit with the gratitude and reverence for yourself, the respect for yourself of how much you have already done, rather than looking at what you still have to do, because that is moving so much into the future and imagining scenarios that you don't even know what's going to happen yet. So just be fully present, ground yourself right now in how far you've come. Because what we are looking at is so many years of this building up of domestication, this building up of kind of wearing you down, grinding you down. And society especially has a way of telling you you're not good enough. So if you've allowed a lot of that energy, a lot of that thoughts, a lot of that way of believing and thinking to be absorbed into you, this is not going to be undone overnight. You're not going to listen to this episode and go, wow, I have the awareness now. Okay, I get it. And then the next day you see the same pattern repeat, and then you go, oh, I should be further along. I listened to the podcast episode. Now I have the awareness. What's wrong with me? Like, this is not going to change overnight. It is going to take so much grace, so much self-love, and so much awareness that when you now see it come up, when you're like, what is wrong with me? Like, I just can't get it right. And what I hear from so many people is this perfectionist seeking, that if you can't get it 100%, like everything correct all the time, then it's just not worth bothering. Because if I can't do it 100%, then why would I even try? It's like, who in the world ever got something 100% the first time? That's what practice is. We just put one foot in front of the other. As Dory says, just keep swimming. That's all we can do. We are forever the perpetual student. We came here to learn and grow. So as soon as you actually start to think, do you know what? I'm there. I have nothing else to change. I've made it. I'm complete. That's actually the point you start failing, because it's when you can approach things from I am always learning, I am always growing. Like, there's always stuff to learn. As long as you're on this planet, you will be learning. When you can come from that place, it gives you so much more self-love, so much more grace, so much more movement to just be present in the moment and just allow yourself to be. Like, wherever you are, you're doing great. You are so much further along than you give yourself credit for. And if you slip, if you fall, because we all do, we all do, just pick yourself back up. Give yourself the love and acceptance to say, I'm experiencing things on a human level. I'm not there yet. Neither is anyone on this planet. And just pick back up where you started from. It doesn't mean you go all the way from like 95% back to zero and have to start all over again. It's just a little hiccup. It's just a little bump in the road. So don't beat yourself up when you slip up. Just go like, okay, I'm doing the best that I can right now with the tools that I have available. Every day is a new day. Every time I do this, I am approaching mastery levels because I get to repeat it and practice it and understand the best place that you can come from with yourself is love, is to really speak to yourself with love. Because if you slow down long enough to listen to how you talk to yourself, when you don't get it right, when you slip, when you have a humaning moment, listen to how you talk to yourself, listen to the things that you say. And would you honestly, if you think of the person in your life that you love the most, think of somebody that you really love, cherish, honor, respect, whether that's your partner or your child, your son, your daughter, your mother, your father, your best friend, whoever it is in your life that you have so much love for. Now imagine they have a humaning moment and you spoke to them the same way you speak to yourself. Like, what is wrong with you? Can't you just get this right? Shouldn't you be there by now? Like everybody else is further along. Would you even dream of speaking to someone you love like that? What would you say to them? I'm thinking it's probably going to be something more like, hey, you're doing your best. You're doing way more and way better than you were 6 months ago. I can see that you are really putting all your effort in, and every day you keep practicing and you're getting there little by little. Wouldn't you speak to them like that? So what you're really saying when you speak to yourself like, what's wrong with you? You're broken. You can't get it. What you're really saying is you don't love yourself. What you're really saying is you have no love at all for yourself. So sit with that for a while and ask yourself, what is behind that? What is so hard for you just to give yourself the grace, give yourself the love that you would give to somebody else? Because you have a huge heart filled with love and you give that over and over to everybody around you, but you're not prepared to give it to yourself first. What is that really saying about where you're coming from on an energy level? And imagine what would change, what would shift if you just started to accept yourself for where you are. So if you're on a spiritual path, the thing that I hear most often is, I still get angry. Like I've been following this spiritual path for years now, and sometimes I still get angry and I'm like, congratulations, you're humaning. This is part of the experience that we signed up for on this planet. We ask to go through this whole spectrum of emotions, the grays, the whites, the blacks, and every technicolor in between. That's what we desire. That's what we incarnated onto this planet. Ever wondered why you're here in this specific time? Because you desire growth. That's what your intention was in coming here, in signing up. It's like, take me to the 2020s. It's the fast train to evolution. So the fact that you're here right now already shows that you have this massive potential for growth. So don't beat yourself up when you just have a human experience, when you go through life and experience emotion. And the key to everything is always awareness. So if you experience anger, that's usually a secondary emotion. So really sit with it and see what's coming up, what's really behind that anger. And then you grow from your understanding of what is going on. But it's not like there's anything wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with where you are. You're not broken. You don't need fixing. Love yourself enough to really start to know that. Love yourself enough to say, like, I'm whole and complete as I am right now. And I love myself so much that I am going to expand into the alignment of possibility and all the things that growth can bring for me. Because when you begin your intention, when you begin that energy from that place, your experience will be completely different to if you're beginning your energy and your experience from, I'm not good enough, I should be further along, I might as well throw in the towel, there's no point to doing any of this, what is wrong with me? Which way of thinking do you think is going to even create anger and frustration? So the thing that you are running from the most is exactly the thing that you are creating within yourself. And again, I say all of these things not to allow you to go into like, oh, she's right. I see so much of that in myself. What is wrong with me? It's like, no, 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 no. That is not the intention of our good. The only reason that I am sharing this message with you is so that you can have the self-awareness to see the patterns and to go like, okay, I see that now. I see where this is coming up for me. I can see where I talk to myself in a way that I would never talk to somebody I love. So if I really loved myself, how would I talk to myself? What would the things that I would say be to encourage me to keep going, to keep putting one foot in front of the other and just keep going? That's all you have to do. That is all you have to do. Just love yourself, one foot in front of the other. Just keep going. Every day is practice. Nobody achieved anything without practice. When you were a little baby, you didn't just stand up and start walking. Maybe you crawled. Maybe you shuffled around on your bottom for a while. There's different levels to everything. And when you finally stood up, you fell over. And you didn't fall over once as a child and sit there and go, what is wrong with me? I can't walk. I'm never going to walk again. I'm never even going to try it. Because if I can't get it right the first time and I can't do it 100% perfectly, I'm not even going to bother. So reconnect with that energy of the child of you that was like, I fell over. Great. I get back up. You fall over, you giggle. You're like, well, I fell over. This means I'm learning, because the fact that I stood up in the first place means I'm further along than I was yesterday. You didn't beat yourself up. You didn't say to yourself, I should be walking by now. What is wrong with me? You just enjoyed the moment and the new experience of walking. So anywhere you are on your spiritual path, or even if it's not a spiritual path, maybe it's just a personal development path. Maybe it's a relationship path, whatever you are on that is evolving and growing, wherever you are is exactly where you're meant to be right now. So honor that, accept that, invite more of that energy in, and you will soon begin to see a huge shift. And most of all, the shift you will begin to see is how you feel about yourself, how you love yourself. And when that begins to shift, your energy will shift, your frequency will shift. And then when your vibration begins to shift, everything changes. Everything in your life will begin to change, but it all begins with you and how you think and feel about yourself, the way you talk to yourself, what you're feeling inside, really feeling about who you are. So next time you don't get something completely right, or it doesn't go to plan, or you miss the mark, give yourself so much credit, because one, you tried, like you made an attempt. The fact that you were even trying to commit to whatever it was that you were going for deserves huge applause and credit, because you tried. That's the first step, is you made an attempt at it. And then secondly, look at how far you've come from where you were. Whatever you're trying, whatever you are mastering and practicing, you're so much further along than you give yourself credit for. And thirdly, if you slip and fall, because you will, don't let it take the shine off what you've already achieved before you got there. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off. Say the same loving things you would say to somebody else that you love and cherish. Because that's what we really want to get to, is to love and cherish ourselves. So say the things that would encourage you, that would keep you going, rather than chastise you and like, what is wrong with you? Eradicate those kind of thoughts from your mind. So when you slip and fall, it's like, okay, we missed the mark, but we're going to keep going, because every time I practice this, I'm going to approach mastery. I'm going to get there because I am committed. I am in integrity. I love myself enough to keep going. I want this for myself because I love myself. So next time, as I said, because there's always a next time, we are all on the train learning together. That's what we came here for. That's what we signed up for. So next time, you now have this new awareness that you may have begun to hear from listening to this episode. And you will have the knowing that it's okay. It's absolutely fine. You're doing great. Just keep going. And most of all, love yourself. Accept yourself for exactly where you are now, but love yourself enough to desire and set your intention on more growth, on more evolving, and see where that takes you.